Branded a domestic threat by the FBI, an outlaw motorcycle club emerges from the shadows, standing shoulder to shoulder with the infamous Hells Angels. They are the Bandidos MC, a formidable force that ignites fear in the hearts of bikers worldwide. Not only do they command the respect of their peers, but they also draw the unwavering gaze of law enforcement agencies. Clashes with rival clubs and gangs fuel their reputation as the ultimate one-percenter club. From the scorching streets of Texas to the chilling landscapes of Scandinavia, these guys left their trail. From the battlefields of Vietnam to the lawless roads of Texas, a former Marine returns with an unquenchable thirst for something greater. Dissatisfied with the existing motorcycle clubs, which he deems too tame, he takes matters into his own hands. In March 1966, Donald Don Eugene Chambers establishes the Bandidos MC in the heart of San Leon. Their colors, red and gold, serve as an emblem of his unbreakable bond to the Marine Corps.
One might ask, why the Spanish name? In my research, I asked myself the same question and found out that the founder, Chambers, simply respected the Mexican bandits who liked to do things their own way and wanted to honor them.
Born 2 decades after their iconic predecessors, the Hells Angels, the Bandidos emerge as a rising force in the underworld, and exactly this rivalry plays a crucial role in the story of the Bandidos. But we will get to that. The club quickly expands, establishing a second chapter in Corpus Christi just 2 years later, further cementing themselves as a motorcycle club on the rise. But it is the arrival of Ronald Jerome Hodge as the new president that ignites their ambitions to soaring heights. Under his astute leadership, the Bandidos seize an opportunity to expand their presence globally, propelling them to become one of the largest motorcycle clubs worldwide. With each stride of their notable expansion, they send an echoing message that reverberates through the ranks of the Hells Angels. The Bandidos have risen, casting a shadow of doubt upon the once unchallenged dominion of their adversaries. Sydney, Australia, in 1983. A member of the Comancheros MC, Anthony Snodgrass Spencer, takes a trip to the United States and meets with many of the one-percenter clubs, with the interest of bringing an American club to Australia. His meeting with the president of the Bandidos is the one that impresses him the most. Spencer appreciates the respect and brotherhood shown amongst fellow American Bandidos members. It is there that he and El Presidente Ronnie Hodge discuss the possibility of granting him a chapter in Australia. After much correspondence, the tick of approval is granted, and a chapter outside the United States is formed. This chapter, with its new president Anthony Spencer, becomes one of the first international clubhouses for the Bandidos MC. Some years later, in the mid to late 80s, the expansion in Europe also begins. Correspondence begins with a member from a MC in France and the Corpus Christi chapter. After much discussion, the Marseille chapter gets their wish and in 1989 becomes part of the Bandidos MC movement. They proudly begin to wear the iconic fat Mexican symbol, with the colors red and gold on their backs. This act establishes the Bandidos into the race for world domination among the big 3 outlaw clubs, the Hells Angels MC, the Outlaws MC, and the Pagans MC. Their involvement in the distribution of drugs, money laundering, extortion, and prostitution shows how serious the Bandidos take the law. They have also been alleged to have committed murder and violent attacks on rival gangs and civilians. The rise of Bandidos is not seen as a threat to many, but once they reached international shores, that all changes. To the point where violence between clubs escalates and unfortunate bystanders are caught in the crossfire. For example, in the 1990s, as the Bandidos expand even more into Europe, one of the most deadly biker wars in history erupts. The so-called Great Nordic Biker War leaves the ever-idyllic landscapes of Scandinavia terrorized by the Hells Angels and Bandidos. The once peaceful nations in the north of Europe see a tragedy like no other when a war between the 2 rival clubs breaks out and lasts for more than 3 years. Originally, the Hells Angels take no notice of the rise of Bandidos in this small country as their membership is quite limited. However, the chapter grows, and not long after the Bandidos start to find their feet, a war soon follows. When the war is formally declared, each club arms themselves with dangerous weapons, including automatic guns, and they even steal rocket launchers from the Swedish army. The war intensifies when a grenade is thrown into the Bandidos' quarters in June of 1997. During this deadly attack, an innocent bystander is caught in the crossfire and is unfortunately killed. After a 3-year battle, a truce is declared. Regrettably, this once serene and idyllic nation is profoundly shaken by this deadly conflict, resulting in the tragic loss of 12 lives and leaving numerous others injured out of the 74 attempted murders. Not surprisingly, some countries in Europe decided therefore to ban the Bandidos completely. The German government has broken up and banned the Bandidos motorcycle gang following a series of police raids on clubhouses and the apartments of suspected members in July 2021. The raids, which took place in 5 different German counties, involved almost 1,800 police officers and led to the seizure of weapons, ammunition, drugs, motorcycles, hard drives, and large amounts of cash. According to the German Interior Ministry, the Bandidos MC was attempting to expand the areas it controls and to bring in more revenue, particularly when it comes to rival gangs against which it would use force. In early 2019, a shooting in the center of Cologne, thought to be part of a power struggle between the Bandidos and their arch-rivals, the Hells Angels, caused outrage in Germany. But it is not only in Europe that the Bandidos have caused trouble. They also caused a lot of controversy in their home country, the USA. Suspects are taken to a convention center for processing, not a police building. The reason? There are too many of them. The police station in Waco does not have the capacity to control this kind of criminal energy. Some of the suspects are held on bail of $1 million each and must stay in jail for at least 30 days. But in the end, it turns out that none of them are convicted. How did this happen? A small town of approximately 140,000 people in Texas witnesses a gunfight and an all-out brawl between biker gangs. Bikers from all over, including members from the Bandidos, gather around lunch during a sunny day in May 2015, in a car park at a place called Twin Peaks. This gathering is originally meant to be civil, as they are there to discuss road safety and biker rights, but it doesn't take long for things to turn nasty. There is an alleged incident where a Bandidos member supposedly runs over the foot of a Cossacks member, which then turns into a full-blown brawl and eventually a gunfight. With gunfire being seen and heard by everyone in close proximity, many take shelter in the restaurant nearby. Footage from CCTV shows customers and waiters running for cover, and men in biker jackets being armed and ready to fight, while taking cover behind tables and anywhere they can hide. The police anticipated that this event could turn ugly and are already in the area. At least 4 bikers are then hit with bullets from a .223 caliber that is only used by the police that day. In the aftermath, the public questions their use of force. However, the district attorney's office defends their officers who are there that day. Once the mayhem of the day dies down, the police are able to gather weapons used in the fight. The weapons include handguns, an AK-47 rifle, chains, brass knuckles, knives, and bats. Interestingly, some of these weapons are found in a bag of tortilla chips and a bag of flour. The district attorney in McLennan County even admits that it is highly unlikely that anyone will be held accountable for their actions in that unfortunate mass shooting. However, he has not ruled out bringing murder charges if new evidence becomes available. The suggestion from bikers and their attorneys argue that many who are there and are arrested by the police are not part of the gathering and fighting and are trying to escape, is the fact that no one is ever convicted of these crimes due to the event taking place in a small county where they have limited resources. Is it too big of a job for the authorities to handle? Or is it a case of biker members who once again are able to beat the justice system? The original statement may have been for a need to belong, but the Bandidos MC are now considered to be a large contributor of criminal activity in the U.S. and a one-percenter club, including the criminal activity in Waco, Texas, where a public shooting is on display for all to see in 2015. The Bandidos may also be involved in the majority of biker gang violence around the world. In Quebec, over several years of gang violence, more than 160 people have been killed. As we mentioned, Scandinavia, also Sydney, Australia, where a young girl tragically dies and is caught up in their violence. So are they a domestic terrorist threat? Well, we will let you decide. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment below.